So, how does a kid who was relentlessly bullied in South Africa grow up to become the richest person on the planet? A guy who's not just launching rockets, but trying to put computers inside our brains. This isn't just a story about someone who saw the future, it's about someone who decided to build it himself. Let's dive in. Okay, just look at this for a second. On one side, you have a kid who was bullied so badly he actually ended up in the hospital. On the other side, you have arguably the most powerful and influential tech figure of our time. I mean, the journey from point A to point B here is one of the wildest stories you'll ever hear. So the big question is, how on earth did he do it? To understand any of this, we've got to go back, way back. Our story starts in Pretoria, South Africa. And it was pretty obvious, right from the very beginning, that Elon Musk's brain was just wired differently. He would just zone out, stare off into space. His parents actually thought he might be deaf and had his hearing checked. But what was really going on was that his mind was like a supercomputer, just running nonstop. This meant he'd say things that were super logical to him, but made zero sense to other kids. And that made him a target. But here's the thing, that very same mental operating system that made him an outcast, it would end up becoming his greatest superpower. And man, he put that superpower to work pretty fast. When he was just 10, he gets his first computer and finishes a 6-month programming course in 3 days. 3 days! Then, by age 12, he wasn't just playing video games, he was making his own and selling it. His first creation, a little space game called Blaster. And he sold that game to a magazine for $500. Now, okay, that's not life-changing money, but for a 12-year-old, that's everything. It was the first sign, that first piece of proof that the ideas inside his head could be turned into something real, something people would actually pay for. All right, let's fast forward a bit. Musk finds his way to America, and his timing is just perfect. He lands right as the dot-com boom of the 90s is about to go completely insane, and he jumps right into the middle of it. He and his brother, Kimball, saw a really simple problem. Back then, if you wanted to find a pizza place, you had to use this giant, clunky paper book called the Yellow Pages. Their idea was simple but genius. Put it all online. So they started Zip2. Elon coded around the clock. I mean, he literally slept in the office, while his brother went out and sold it. And you know what? It started to take off. It took off so well that the computer giant Compaq came along and bought Zip2 for more than $300 million. Musk's share of that? A cool $22 million. He was just 27 years old, and he was already a millionaire. Now, most people would take that money and buy a private island. Not Elon. He took basically all of it and rolled it into an even crazier, riskier idea. X.com. He wanted to completely reinvent banking. The problem was, at the time, people were terrified of putting their financial info online. So his solution was kind of nuts. He just paid people to sign up. $20 in your account just for joining. The growth was explosive. So X.com got into this brutal fight for survival with a rival company called PayPal. To stay alive, they decided to merge. But behind the scenes, it was a total disaster. Fights over the company name, fights over everything. It all came to a head when the board staged a coup and fired him as CEO. And the wildest part, he found out while he was on his honeymoon. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. But here's the crazy twist. Even though they kicked him out of the CEO job, he was still the single biggest shareholder. So when eBay came along and bought the new merged company, PayPal, for $1.5 billion, Elon walked away with $180 million. Now he had serious money, the kind of money you need to chase moonshots. So what kind of moonshots are we talking about? Oh, nothing huge. Just making humanity a multiplanetary species and transitioning the entire world to sustainable energy. That basically meant two things, rockets and electric cars. And it meant betting everything he had. So first, rockets. He flew to Russia to try and buy some old Cold War missiles to send a small greenhouse to Mars. They pretty much laughed him out of the room and gave him an insane price. But on the flight home, he did what he does. He ran the numbers. He realized the raw materials to build a rocket cost way, way less than the final price. And that's when he decided, fine, we'll just build the rockets ourselves. And so, SpaceX was born. But it turns out rocket science is, well, it's rocket science. It's really, really hard. The first launch of their Falcon 1 rocket, it failed. The second launch, also a failure. The third, it blew up in a spectacular fireball. So let's just be crystal clear about this. After 3 straight failures, after burning through $100 million, Elon and his team had just enough money left for one more try. If this fourth rocket failed, SpaceX was completely finished. And if that wasn't enough stress, at the exact same time, his other huge bet, Tesla, was also bleeding cash and about to die. The vision was incredible, a beautiful, fast electric car, but the reality of building it was a nightmare. Costs were spinning out of control. And then, the 2008 financial crisis hit, and all the investment money just vanished. Both of his companies were on life support. So we're at the absolute lowest point. It's 2008. Both SpaceX and Tesla are weeks, maybe days from going bankrupt. So Musk takes every last cent he has from that PayPal sale, and he pushes all of it into the middle of the table. It was a massive all-or-nothing bet on himself and his teams. And then came the fourth Falcon 1 launch. Absolutely everything was on the line. They watch it lift off, the first stage separates cleanly, the second stage ignites, and then they see it on the screen. Orbit achieved. They had done it. SpaceX became the first private company in the history of the world to reach orbit. Now look at this, because this is why that moment mattered so much. It wasn't just that they got to space. They were doing it for about 1/10 of the cost of everybody else. And you better believe NASA noticed. They quickly awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract. Just like that, SpaceX was saved. And then, like something out of a movie, the other domino fell. On Christmas Eve, literally hours before they would have gone bankrupt, Tesla secured a last-minute investment that saved the company. The ultimate gamble had worked. In the span of just a few months, he went from the brink of total failure to unbelievable success. And from that near-death experience in 2008, both companies just went on an absolute tear. Tesla released the Model S, which was named Car of the Year, proving an electric vehicle could be the best car on the market, period. SpaceX figured out how to land its rockets back on Earth, a sci-fi dream, slashing costs even more and paving the way for Starlink, their plan to blanket the globe with internet. An empire was being built. All of that success gave him an almost unimaginable amount of money and influence, which he's used to find even more ambitious projects, from connecting human brains to computers with Neuralink to steering the course of artificial intelligence. But this incredible rise has also come with a lot of heavy criticism. There are stories about a brutal, high-pressure work culture. His chaotic takeover of Twitter, which he renamed X, led to massive layoffs. And his own tweets can cause stock prices to swing wildly, which has made a lot of people ask if it's safe for any one person to have that much power. And that really gets to the heart of the whole thing, the Musk paradox. There was no question that this is a man who is actively building the future. But as he continues to reshape our world with electric cars, missions to Mars, and AI, the single biggest question that we have to ask is, who is this future really being built for?